there's many things that we're still waiting on, and we've all emphasized that in our reporting. But the total vote also matters a great deal. And whether you count it in analysis as a reflection of huge support for Joe Biden or huge antipathy for Donald Trump, two cycles running, I'm curious if you as a historian can put in context what it means to see that high a vote share.
It means, just as you've said, Ari, that there is a big mandate for the man who looks as if he's going to be the new president, with that kind of a vote that looms so much larger than anything we've seen before in American history. And the other thing, Ari, is that look at the turnout on Tuesday. Everything we are hearing suggests that this may be the most, or at least in modern times, close to the most people voting, turning out of eligible voters that we have ever seen. The last time that happened in modern times was 1960, Kennedy versus Nixon, height of the Cold War. Even 4 years ago, you'd think that Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, a lot of people would have turned out. It is likely that the turnout on Tuesday was much larger. That means enthusiasm for Joe Biden. It also is a really big sign of health in our democracy, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, democracy, and Heather, so much of this becomes personalized or even cartoonish in the narratives. And we talk about who presents well or who's beloved or who has a sturdy base, even if it's a smaller base. I'm curious what you think about it. Cornell alluded to the diverse and multiracial coalition that Biden built, according to what we can see. And again, we're not calling those 6 states, but in the total vote, Heather, when you see a level of support that's higher than Trump right now, higher than Trump last time, higher than the Bushes, higher than the Bush years, higher than Bill Clinton, yes, in a 3-way. I'm curious what that tells you about that emerging national majority.
Well, I think you should also peel back and look at what this overwhelming majority, this multiracial majority that draws from people of all ages, that really reflects the diversity that is this country's greatest asset. You also need to look at what are the policies that Joe Biden ran on, right? Those are also ones that get 6 and 7 out of 10 voters support. Things like taxing the wealthy, a big green jobs program to address climate change, putting care, childcare, paid family leave at the center of our economy. And yes, racial justice issues about police accountability, like ending qualified immunity for cops who abuse the badge. And so it's not just about blue versus red. It's also about what the vision is for society. And that is clearly, the Democrats clearly have an edge in having been able to articulate a bold vision, certainly in contrast to the Republican vision, which so far has been, cutting taxes for the wealthy and, bundling a pandemic, pretending like it doesn't exist and leading to hundreds of thousands of people losing their lives.
Yeah, and this also goes to the writing on the wall, Michael, because we've seen Republicans here not rushing in to help what some see as, this is, I'm quoting reporting, what they see as a potentially losing gambit. Washington Post, Trump turns angry and despondent as, quote, possible defeat looms. Some in the president's orbit, including his family, incensed that more Republicans were not echoing his comments and publicly fighting for his reelection. Of course, what we're hearing from some Republicans and other conservatives, Michael, is they fought for his reelection. They fought hard. They think they're losing, and they're not necessarily interested in passing certain lines for something that is on the way to a loss. Again, reporting where they're at. They're also watching a range of data and sources, as we do, which include, for them, Fox News, which has also at times reported on what's coming in their view. Take a look.
It's agonizing for the president. He sees a lead of 700,000 dwindle every single hour.
I think this was so close.
Right, but Ainsley, you're talking about the popular vote.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden, once again, will win the popular vote. We know that for sure.
If you make a call for Joe Biden at 264, the math is pretty obvious. In Pennsylvania, that would give him 284 electoral
And he would
votes.
become the president-elect of the United States.
That is correct.
Michael?
Well, I think what Donald Trump is going to have very quickly in the next couple of days is the experience. It's going to be like picking up a telephone and there's no dial tone. He's used to everyone jumping. He's used to everyone being afraid of him. He's used to being able to intimidate members of Congress. He will be absolutely astounded at how unintimidated people are of him. You know, the party is over for him. It's going to be a very big emotional shock for him. He's probably having that already. It is for almost every president who's defeated for re-election. Doesn't happen that often, but for Donald Trump, who by everything that we hear has been living for 4 years nearly in a world of delusion where people are giving him, folders of material that suggests that he's more popular than he really is. He's been living in a dream world, and the dream for him has just turned into a nightmare.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.